What's going on, everybody? This is Luke from South Beach Sports, and today we're going to talk about the Miami Heat's offensive issues and what they can do to fix them. So first off, I just want to read off some stats that really exemplify the Heat's offensive problems that they've been having for pretty much the entire season. So the Heat are 26th in the NBA in points per game at 106.2. That's about 6 points lower than they were last year when they were 15th in points per game. The Heat are currently 20th in field goal percentage, 28th in three-point field goal percentage, which is a huge decrease from last year. They're 25th in offensive rating. They have the 6th highest turnover percentage at 14.8%, and they are 30th, dead last in the league in offensive rebounds per game. So as you guys can hear, the Heat have just had poor offensive production throughout the entire season. And some of these stats are very weird, like the 28th in three-point field goal percentage, when last year the Heat were one of the most efficient three-point shooting teams in the entire NBA. So why is that? Why have the Heat been struggling so much on offense? So for starters, the Heat play at a very, very slow pace. They play at the second slowest pace in the league. Go comment down below who you think plays at the slowest pace. I'm very curious to hear your guesses. But this slow pace makes them very, very susceptible to cold stretches. I mean, the Heat just don't play at a tempo which allows them to score bunches of points in a super short amount of time. So when the Heat are often faced with 10 and 15 point deficits, that's wraps. The Heat just don't have the quick offensive ability to get back into games. While this slow pace sometimes hinders the Heat's offensive production, the main reason why they struggle so much has to be that Jimmy Butler is their only consistent scoring option. I mean, I know some of you guys are saying, well, what about Bam Adebayo? He's averaging 19 points a game. And yeah, that's true. But Bam Adebayo has not proven to be a consistent scoring threat in that he's often looking way too much to facilitate. Bam Adebayo is only aggressive in stretches, and especially against the Suns, where Bam Adebayo only had, I believe, 6 shots and 2 shots in the first half. Like, that can't happen. He hasn't proven to where he's a consistent and reliable scoring option despite his rather high points per game average. When looking at some of the other players, the Heat just don't have another consistent option. I mean, their most consistent option besides Jimmy last year was Goran Dragic, and he has struggled mightily this year. He does not look like the same player at all. When looking at Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn, yes, they are both good scorers, and yes, they can both score points in bunches, but they have both proven that they cannot do this at a consistent level yet. Not saying they won't be able to in the future, but it's just not there yet. Also, Victor Oladipo, I'm sure he'll provide consistent buckets, but his biggest problem on offense has to be his consistency. I mean, there were games on the Rockets where Victor Oladipo was just maddeningly inconsistent. Another major issue that the Heat are having has to be their transition offense, which, for a lack of a better term, this year has just looked horrible. It looks awful, guys. I mean, it's bad when your most assertive player on fast breaks is usually Tyler Hero. I mean, that's bad. Jimmy Butler, he's a great driver and a great finisher, but he often looks to pass way too many times on fast breaks. And just another player who's lacking assertiveness, especially in transition, is Bam Adebayo. He should be an amazing transition player. I mean, he's strong, fast, he's 6'9", but he just looks to pass way too often. I mean, that's the thing that the Heat really have to work on with Bam Adebayo. He should become one of the best transition players in the NBA, and he's nowhere close to becoming that at this point. Okay, so enough about what the Heat do poorly. Let's talk about what the Heat can do to fix these offensive problems. So for first off, I think that they should let Goran Dragic play off of Tyler Hero and not vice versa on this bench unit. Dragic isn't able to be the main ball handler off the Heat's bench anymore when factoring in his age, his lack of quickness, his lack of shot creating and driving ability. I think it would really serve the Heat well if they use Tyler Hero in a more primary ball handling role instead of a secondary ball handling role. I mean, the only opportunities that Tyler Hero usually has to handle the ball is in late shot clock ISO situations. So I think it would really serve, especially Tyler Hero's development, well if they let Goran Dragic take more of a back seat in this second unit and really just let Tyler Hero work and create himself. I mean, this second unit led by both Tyler Hero and Goran Dragic is supposed to be a strength of the Heat's, and it's probably been the main reason why they've lost against both the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, so changes have to be made to the second unit. I think the biggest adjustment that Coach Spoelstra and the Heat staff have to make on offense is give Bam Adebayo more of a role and run more sets to Bam Adebayo that would give him a higher usage as a ball handler and as a scorer, because I love Bam Adebayo as a facilitator, but he can be so much more of a player. Like, there are so many ways that he could use Bam Adebayo and just expand from this limited role of a screener, a roller, and someone who you can work dribble handoffs off of. I mean, he could use Bam Adebayo in just an infinite amount of ways. So the biggest thing that Spo needs to cut down on has to be his just overwhelming amount of dribble handoffs he runs. I mean, I love the dribble handoff series when it's with Duncan and Bam Adebayo, especially considering Duncan Robinson's increased comfort when handling the ball. Not only does it create pressure on the defense, but it causes bigs who love to play in drop coverage to then step up, which if Duncan Robinson doesn't have an open shot, this leaves the paint either wide open for Bam Adebayo, or it causes whichever guard or wing is playing in weak side help to rotate over, and this leaves a mismatch for Bam Adebayo to go up and score on a smaller guard or wing. My biggest problem with the Heat's dribble handoff series is when it's run through a complete non-threat on offense. I mean, I just start cringing when I see the Heat run a dribble handoff series with Bam and Trevor Ariza or Andre Iguodala, for example. I mean, that's going to end up nowhere because obviously Trevor Ariza and Andre Iguodala cannot create their own shots, so there's no purpose in running a dribble handoff for them. It puts no pressure on the defense and it never works out, and these are the types of possessions which end up in end of shot clock chuck-ups, which happen way too often. I think Miami could really benefit offensively if they use Bam in a lot more one-on-one situations in the mid to high post. I don't like Bam as much in the low post, as that's really not his game. He's not a Nikola Jokic or Jonas Valanciunas type player. But when you stick Adebayo in the mid to high post area and allow him to give space and allow him to have the space to work and either drive to the basket, score a layup, dunk the ball, draw a foul, or if the defender is allowing him space to go and shoot it, that would just create so many more opportunities for this offense. And another thing is when Bam Adebayo is able to drive to the basket, this will cause the defense to collapse and provide open shot opportunities for the Heat shooters, which need to get in a rhythm, especially when the playoffs are not even a month away. I have to say that I am quite jealous of how Nick Nurse and the Toronto Raptors coaching staff uses Pascal Siakam in more of a creating and a more free role than the Heat use Bam. So Bam's role on offense is usually relegated to dribble handoffs, being the roller on screens. He doesn't have this freedom to just create as much as he probably should. So for instance, I'll link down a video in the description below kind of going over what I'm saying about Pascal Siakam, but the Raptors really like to use him in a lot of primary ball handling scenarios, especially on ball screens. They like to take their smaller guards such as Kyle Lowry or DeAndre Membry and use them to set screens for Pascal Siakam to either come off the screen or reject the screen and either A, create his own shot, or B, look to facilitate. And as Bam Adebayo is obviously a phenomenal facilitator, this would just present him with so many more opportunities to make an impact on offense. I mean, not only would it provide him opportunities to gain confidence while driving to the basket, but it again would collapse the defense and create opportunities for shooters such as Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Trevor Ariza, and it would just open up the offense so much more. I lastly just want to talk about how he can implement some more variations off the pistol set, and how having Bam as the primary ball handler in this set could create so many more opportunities for not only him, but also for Duncan Robinson, for some other shooters, and it would just be a much needed wrinkle in the Heat's offense. So for instance, he could install some of these pistol sets with, again, Bam as the primary ball handler and Duncan setting the screen on the wing. That's a key clog of the pistol set. So for instance, if I have Bam Adebayo as my primary ball handler, whoever the wing, and in this case Duncan Robinson, will come up and set a screen for him. So off this movement, you can then set a flare screen for Duncan Robinson coming from the high post. Let's say Trevor Ariza sets the flare screen, for example. This variation of the pistol set would again prevent Bam Adebayo the opportunity to be the primary ball handler, and it would give Duncan Robinson a potential open look, which is always a good thing. So this pistol set has so many different variations and wrinkles. That's only one of them. I mean, he could run ball screens off of this. They can run give and goes. They could slip whichever big is coming up to set a screen. There's so many different wrinkles and variations that a good coach like Erik Spoelstra can run off this. I'll link a video in the description below kind of explaining the intricacies of the pistol set and the different wrinkles that could be run off of it. I also like how this set is often run at an up-tempo pace, so the Heat won't always have to resort to their slow and sluggish pace they often play at offensively. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I know today's video is a little longer than usual, but there was just a lot of information that I want to get into. So if you enjoyed today's video, and if you enjoy content like this, please go ahead and like and subscribe, as that would mean so much for this growing channel. Go comment down below why you think the Heat's offense has been struggling so much. I love talking to you guys, and I love having open dialogue about whatever the video is about. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.